Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. This is Ezgi. I'm the lead recruiter from QuantumBlack team, and today it's my pleasure to be hosting the Fireside chat with QuantumBlack with two amazing colleagues of mine, Anastasia and Sonya. So, for those who are less familiar, by way of introduction, QuantumBlack is the data science and AI arm of McKinsey. QuantumBlack's own story started as a startup 10 years ago, and 5 years ago has been acquired by McKinsey. And today we have around 1,000 colleagues globally of brightest data scientists, data engineers, software engineers, product managers, machine learning engineers working with us either to solve problems of our clients by using data science techniques or developing products and assets which helps data science colleagues, data engineers, data scientists globally while working their delivery projects. So specifically today, we wanted to have a fireside chat with two colleagues of mine, and we will be speaking and learning about their career journey. Today, we will be learning about their experience so far and what was their main learnings from their career so far. And as well as we would love to make this an interactive session. So we will leave a Q&A session at the end. But in the meantime, please drop your questions while we are speaking into the chat so that you don't forget until the end. And we will collate your questions and we will ask in the Q&A session. So, and let's continue with our colleagues. And today we have Anastasia with us, our software engineer based in London, and Sonia with us, our product manager based in Boston. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Great to have you in our chat today. So let's start with learning you more about you first of all. And let me start with Anastasia. Anastasia, would you like to briefly share about your role at QuantumBlack with us?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me here. I'm a software engineer currently in a team called Vertical X. And what we do is we work very closely with the vertical teams in QB Labs, where a vertical is kind of like a sector-specific team that builds a toolkit to help accelerate the delivery / adoption of machine learning. So we work very closely with these teams, and the main objective of Vertical X is to accelerate the development of new verticals and reduce the startup time for these new verticals, to drive collaboration and sharing across the verticals to ensure there's a consistency and quality with the solutions that are being provided to our clients, and also to identify the gaps / weaknesses and new development areas across labs. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. There's a product called Alloy, which is like a Python framework for producing these client consumable products. So yeah, that's currently what I've been doing. And I joined QuantumBlack, I guess, at the end of January this year. So yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. I can remind that day. Yeah, very well. And Anastasia, that's great. Thank you so much for explaining. I know that your career journey has been very interesting, right? Into QuantumBlack together with Office of AI. Would you like to share with us how was your journey? How did you end up with us at QuantumBlack?
Yeah, of course. I go all the way back to university, I guess. So I studied physics, and I obtained a master's in that, and I decided to do software engineering after that. So I joined the bank previously and worked as a Java software engineer for 2 years. I kind of wanted a little bit of a different challenge, wanted to do something a little bit more analytical, but still use my software engineering skills. So I decided to look around for a different opportunity in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And I came across a master's course at Queen Mary. And because I already had a master's at the time, I couldn't get financed by student finance again because they only allow you to finance one master's. So I needed a scholarship. And I came across the Office of AI and QuantumBlack scholarship that kind of offered to fund the whole master's, give a stipend as well as an internship opportunity at the end. I thought it was a very good opportunity, so I applied, and then throughout the, gone through the interview process, and I got the position. And luckily, I managed to, go through the masters, have it funded, and get the internship opportunity at QuantumBlack at the end. That was 3 months, and it was really good to actually be in a data analytical company and kind of learn and kind of have the whole community there and show me kind of the experience of what it's like to work in such a firm. And then after my internship, I realized that this is kind of where I want to work, and it's kind of a good place in order for me to kind of springboard into my future steps in my career. So I decided to join, and I kind of been here since, basically.
That's amazing. Absolutely. So great to hear that through different journeys, you chose QuantumBlack at the end, which is amazing to hear. And then let's continue with another story with Sonia, our product manager. So which product management team is helping us to build our products while we are following an agile structure, I believe extremely important function within QuantumBlack Labs. And we are very lucky to have Sonia with us as well. Sonia, could you briefly explain your role?
Sure. My name is Sonya Norris. I am a product manager in QuantumBlack. I'm also working on one of the products, which is, I would say, one of the biggest products in QB Labs. It's called Optimus AI. And the purpose of the product is to optimize the performance of the manufacturing plant by increasing the by optimizing recovery and throughput. So these are the terms that we use quite often. And eventually for our client, it's improving profit per hour. So in terms of what this is, it's basically data science product. It's a library of Python code, plus we do have some proprietary algorithms and solvers that we are using for our client to optimize the plant's performance. So in terms of the industries we are working with, we are working with mining clients, chemicals and agriculture, metals, oil and gas. And this is just only a fraction of, I would say, the space that we can cover. And we are planning to expand into other industries because really our solution is industry agnostic. It just happened this way. It just happened that it originated in mining.
That's amazing, Sonia. So as I said, so when I generally speak with our candidates, when I say that we are developing the products in the same way that any tech startups and tech companies develop, they are generally surprised but this is what we do in our multifunctional teams. And also we would love to hear your journey to QuantumBlack as well. Would you like to share with us how did you end up at QuantumBlack?
Sure. Just a little bit about myself. Prior to McKinsey, I have experience of working in management consulting and also product management. In terms of management consulting, I worked for companies like Accenture and Infosys. And then in terms of product management, I worked for a couple of startups. One was a New York-based consulting boutique firm, and another startup was a startup incubated by Verizon, which focused on augmented reality and virtual reality solutions. So that's like a brief summary before I joined McKinsey. And then when I joined McKinsey, I actually joined a different group, which is called Technology and Digital, and focused on the internal products for the company. And as I worked in technology and digital, I just had a great opportunity to collaborate with one of our partners, which is also a startup. And it was a very cool NLP based project when we tried to assess the search algorithm and see if it could be a great fit for our system where we're actually searching for knowledge, which is called no. So, and then it just made me, I was fascinated by data science, by by the nature of work that we did. And then I found out about the opportunity in QuantumBlacks with Optimus AI. And I think I was attracted to it for 3 reasons. The first one, I was just fascinated by data science, and QuantumBlack is known for having top-notch data scientists and engineers. Second, I think QuantumBlack, especially QuantumBlack labs, have kind of more startup-y culture, which is still kind of different from McKinsey proper consulting culture. And it appealed to me a lot because I worked in startups before. So I really wanted to work in a similar environment. And I think the third reason is that the product Optimus AI was actually really successful and it was gaining traction. And as a product manager, I would, in my past experiences, work on some products that would be really cool, but we were not sure how much impact it would generate for the end user, and also the value prop maybe was not articulated, or it was in R&D stage. So with Optimus, we knew that the product is making a huge impact, and I actually really enjoy working on products that generate tangible impact.
That's awesome. I can imagine. So what really resonated with me, Sonia, what I want to highlight is once you said that startup environment within QuantumBlack, I think, so definitely it was one of the reasons why I joined to QuantumBlack as well. So we call it in QuantumBlack as best of 2 worlds, actually combining the startup environment. Still, we are working in a fast-paced agile way, but at the same time, which is combined with all the knowledge, expertise, networking, resources, and opportunities coming from McKinsey, creating a perfect environment, actually. Also, this was my reason. Thank you for raising that. Very, very resonating. That's amazing. So now we met with our speakers. So let's dive deep more on what they have learned so far, right, from their experience. So shall we start with, again, Anastasia, getting back to you once again. So now you chose joining QuantumBlack. Would you like to share with us, obviously as a software engineer, I can imagine you had many, many options, right? In the market, receiving messages every day on LinkedIn. So would you like to share with us why did you choose QuantumBlack at the end? And what was really surprising for you after joining, what you were not expecting?
Yeah, definitely. I think what really sold it for me was the time I had as an intern when I joined QuantumBlack. I think you both mentioned, Sonia and Ezgi, you both mentioned how there was a startup culture, there's a startup feeling, but then you have the kind of security of a larger company behind it. And that really, really was interesting to me, because coming from quite a large company before, it did feel sometimes like you're like a cog in a large machine. And the fact that there was an opportunity to work for a company where you could do something that's a bit more substantial and you could feel like you're actually making a change to the work that was being implemented was really enticing for me. I really like the feeling that it felt like a research type of lab, but a fun type of research lab. There's vast amounts of intelligent people here. It feels like a kid in a candy store almost, because there's so much that you could learn, and there's so many people that actually are willing to have the time to talk to you about it, which again, coming from quite a large company, you would kind of have to wait weeks or schedule some time in 2 months to talk to somebody. So the fact that everyone's quite open and willing to exchange that knowledge and The sectors of QB aren't siloed from each other. You know, everyone kind of knows what's going on. I like that kind of open knowledge type of environment. And there's such a strong focus on learning. And a lot of places, although they might give you like a stipend to learn, or they might say, oh, you can take a couple of weeks out, I've never felt like there was a great drive in other companies, I guess, or even where I was working before. But here it's like at the forefront of being an employee here. Like you have to ensure that you're consistently learning, and they make sure that, you know, they drive that forward. I think there's even like a goal of trying to do 200 hours of learning each year, which is, you know, is a lot. But the fact that they have that, you know, noted down somewhere, I think it's really impressive, and it really shows that they're really focusing on ensuring that you're consistently learning and you're consistently up to date with whatever field that you're coming in for, basically. And one of the things that surprised me the most after joining QuantumBlack is actually like the number of problem solving sessions and the amount of knowledge that there is to absorb, and just how friendly everybody is as well. And it sounds really weird, but like I mentioned before, finding time for people to come together and problem solve and just knock heads with each other is something that you don't really get much when you're working with a large company. So the fact that in my team especially, and maybe because my team is quite new or it's quite greenfield, I feel like we're always problem solving. There's always something new that I've never learned before about a random thing in every single problem solving session. These meetings aren't just there to be there. It's kind of there to educate and inform. So it's like consistently being in workshops. And I like the concept of consistently learning and having these problem solving sessions. And it kind of drives through the whole point of learning is okay and taking the time to learn is okay. So that's one thing that really surprised me joining here. But I just really love it. You can literally reach out to anybody and ask to talk about anything. It's great.
That's amazing. Definitely, I think this is what we hear a lot. Culture, the collaboration-focused culture is very much outstanding, right? And as well as, as a recruiter also, this was my experience. So we are working in a very fast-paced environment. You need to problem solve all the time, which really helps you grow and challenge your thinking and your abilities, basically, but in a more really collaborative way, which is amazing. And let's continue with another question, actually, this time to Sonia. Let's continue learning about what you have, about your experience, basically, Sonia. Would you like to share with us what was the most important learning during your career at QuantumBlack?
Sure. I think that 3 things that were the most important learnings for me. And within McKinsey, we like to do everything in 3. So
that's why 3.
Fun fact. So I think the first one is the amount of autonomy and ownership that the team can assume or a product manager can exercise. And really, there is no limit. And there is a lot of support and encouragement to, for example, for me, to expand my role as a product manager. And as I, for example, grow within the firm and I become more senior, the expectations are also changing. And now people, for example, my mentors, they keep pushing me to think about, the product vision for the next 2 years. What is the next big thing for the product? Where is the next area of growth, of opportunity? So just kind of like moving beyond the tactical implementation towards like the real, towards the big picture vision and strategy. So, and what amazes me is that people actually provide support to you, mentor you, but they also expect it from you. So it's kind of quite easy because you don't have to fight for it. Like this is what my role should be. It's more people just, they they provide a lot of guidance on this is where your role should be in the future. So the second piece is, I think that the whole product development process is very unique in QB Labs, because we create an asset or a product that can be reused at multiple client engagements. And the way we get product improved and we innovate is that we actually bring back, we work closely with the consulting teams who use our product to deliver for the client. But the way our product gets improved is that the same consultants who delivered this product on the client engagements, they have learnings and they bring their learnings back, and they come back to our product team on rotation and contribute this knowledge. And I think it's pretty unique that, so to say, the end user is contributing and co-developing together with the team to make the product better. And I think the third learning is that I feel very lucky, because I feel like I have the best of the two worlds, the best of the consulting world and the best of the tech company. So in terms of the best of McKinsey, everybody knows the people are the main asset of McKinsey. Basically, I would say the smartest people I have worked with are in McKinsey. So basically, it's a huge perk that you just get. You get to engage and get mentored by those people.
Yeah.
Without working, in my case, without working like long consulting hours, right? So that's QB in particular for people who work on the product. And on the other hand, I have the best of the tech firm and startup environment. So strong product development culture, top-notch engineers. So I basically have both the best from the both worlds.
That's amazing. That's absolutely great to hear. Best of two worlds message once again from our side. Thank you so much for sharing, Sonia, the rule of three and learnings of three so far. So moving to, I have seen some questions in the chat, and maybe we can just continue with our questions. We have two questions for Sonia. Let me get the first. Sonia, what would be your advice for product managers just starting out their career?
Yeah, that's a good question for product managers. I think from my personal experience, it's important to understand also what kind of path and what kind of type of product manager you want to be. For example, I realized that in my particular case, I would like to specialize in something, because there are a lot of, the competition is getting hotter among product managers. And I think product managers who actually have functional knowledge in a specific industry or in a specific area like data, they actually do pretty well in this market. But having said that, also just to give yourself space to explore, I think it took me maybe like 5 years or so just to kind of figure out what exactly I want to do. And if you are starting, or if you're a beginner product manager, I think it's great to try different things and not to have this pressure to define your path like immediately.
That's amazing. And we have a lot of questions on product management, by the way. So, which is great, a lot of interest specifically. So another question is from Rashmita. Being interested in data science, what made you go into product management field and not into data science, Sonia?
It was actually vice versa. I was interested in product management because I used to work as a product manager in different areas like virtual reality, augmented reality, or just like some software products, web apps, and etc. I think it was vice versa. I was a product manager before I got interested in data science, and then what I also started doing is actually I'm taking an online data science class, and of course, like the engineers that I have in the team, it's like very humbling to understand what they know, but this class really helped me to kind of understand the fundamentals, to understand the basics, and to understand what data scientists talk about. And it actually also made me more interested in data science, because I think one of the obstacles is that perception that it's too difficult, it's difficult to learn, and you'll never be able to learn it. But once you start learning and understanding, you kind of want to learn more.
That's amazing. That's great. Shall we? Maybe we can continue with advices. So this one is for Anastasia, for you. So, any any advice for new software developers?
Let me see. I think what's really important is to pick a language and learn the fundamentals in terms of data structures, design patterns, architecture, and stick with that for at least a couple years, I would say. Like I think one of the things I wish I did was pick one language and stick with it, because I did Python at university, then I did Java at the bank I was working at, then I went back to doing Python, and then I did a bit of C# for my master's project. So although like it all kind of worked out in the end and I kind of have a good broad understanding, I think sticking to one language and then having a lot of experience with that one language kind of allows you later on, if you do want to switch, for it to be a bit easier, because then you would have understood the core basic data structures and fundamentals, and that switch would be a bit easier than like me. I guess I have to try a little bit harder, because I need to first understand the language a bit better and then understand the other principles that I might have missed out on. So I would definitely say, yeah, stick to one language, learn the basics, then learn some advanced principles, and then switch. And that's kind of what I would do.
That's wonderful. I think our audience definitely is appreciating these advices, specifically for those who doesn't have any experience, right, to break. Specifically, product management roles, I believe, yes, on Martika's question, is generally in the industry, they are looking for experience. But obviously, in order to have experience, you need to start somewhere, right? So it's a sort of a vicious circle. So Sonia, specifically for those who want to start and break into product management role, would you advise any helpful resources or any helpful tools?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. So I think it's chicken and egg problem. How do you break into the this role if you don't have experience, and how do you get experience if you don't have a chance to work there? I think in my case, what worked is the lateral move. I didn't start as a product manager. I started as a project manager and consultant, and then I moved to the product manager. So I think that if we think a little bit of ahead, like one of my career coaches said a while ago, think about your jobs as a stepping stones, right? That if you get this job, how it will help you to get this other job. And I think lateral move is one of the great options to move with, because it's always easier to move within the company. You know people know you, and etc. The other advice I would give is to actually just maybe even join as an apprentice or intern. There are some creative solutions just to kind of just to get in, and then one more thing is that some product managers who don't have experience, it's great if you actually kind of develop your own product, just for for fun, for like personal use. And when you interview, you just talk about how you thought about user needs, how you decided to come up with this product, and etc. So it just gives something tangible and shows your thought process, how you come up with this product. So that also works.
I can imagine it was super helpful. Thank you so much, Sonia and Anastasia. I found all these advices super practical, obviously coming with your own experience. And I really want to thank to our speakers and to our audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to host today's sessions. So for other questions, if you have other questions, please visit our booth, guys, and just leave your questions and we will reach out to you. Thank you so much for joining us today and closing today's session here. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.